What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Off the Hook. I got JD Frost live in Chattanooga. What's going on, brother?
Hey, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. We've been busy.
Yeah, man. Doing a lot of new things.
It's awesome, man. And we were talking about edutainment kind of for a while since we did the NugaCon event. And, you know, everyone moves in phases, and you're doing a lot more podcasting and marketing your podcast, which is awesome. Taking a lot of audio from all the other channels that you have and filtering it back into one spot where people can kind of listen on replay in their cars and while they're working out, times where they're not really going to watch video.
Right, exactly.
But also during those times, I find myself watching funny little comedy skits and all that kind of stuff too. So we're going to kind of start incorporating that into your game too, but make it entertaining and educational at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed a lot more over the last 8 to 12 weeks since this whole COVID thing happened, the coronavirus. There is a lot of information coming out at us, and there's so many different sources for that information. And so when I started going on like Facebook Live, talking about the loan programs, PPP, EIDL, all those things, I noticed, I mean, there's a lot of people seeking like a resource, right? Like they want to find a source for information that they can rely on. And at the same time, there's a lot of noise out there. So there's a lot of people talking about it right now. And so what's kind of happened is almost like there's too many people that are educating, but there's not enough people that are edutaining.
Well, yeah, I agree.
Like it's got to be entertaining. And that's what's kind of hit me more, that I've kind of had this surge of brand awareness through the knowledge that I've been able to put out there and like the reliability of that knowledge. And I think it's really actually helped some people, those that haven't even joined our groups or like paid money or anything. It's actually helped them, but they know that it's a reliable source. But now there's so many out there, like, who am I really going to listen to? Like, where am I going to find some good information, but also be entertained?
Right.
And I think people like to see that, like to hear that.
Well, and I think it also builds, you know, that social transparency of, you know, A, they respect your opinion. You're obviously a professional, but B, you're fun enough to be entertaining and goofy a little bit about the topic, but still provide reliable information. So that builds trust. And I feel like that social currency is very important right now.
That's the currency, man. Like that is the currency. I mean, the connections that you have is the currency in your business. I mean, that's more valuable than the dollar. I would rather have a dependable network that I could bring people together to go get the dollars than having the actual dollars. Like that's what I teach our sales team all the time. I'm like, look, all you want to do is create more connections. You want to create a bigger network. You want to have a longer email list. I mean, they used to call it what, a Rolodex, right? Like the Rolodex was the value. It wasn't the money that was inside the Rolodex. And so I'm trying right now to get more eyes, right? You're working on that on your stuff, and you're helping me with that, and you're doing an awesome job. And I think that this whole idea of edutainment, I know it's not like, we're not the first people that have talked about this.
Well, no.
But coming up with creative ways to give good content, to give reliable, knowledgeable content in a way that I'm going to watch a 45-second video and I'm going to laugh at it and be like, you know what? I never thought of it that way.
Right.
Like,
or I didn't even know that there was the EIDL loan until we made that funny video a minute ago.
Right.
I thought it was just PPP.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And now you're curious, and now you can go to Google and search it, or YouTube or whatever, and you can learn all kinds of shit about it.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm really enjoying. And I've like kind of really hit my stride here recently of going live more, providing more of that content that I feel like might be pretty basic. And maybe it's not good for me to say that, but I feel like it's pretty basic. But to others, it's like, this is not, you know? And when I listen to, you know, Grant Cardone or, I don't know, Brad Lee or Coach Burt, any of these people that I'm following, like they're saying the same thing. They're like, man, this is like basic, but you don't know until you don't know.
Well,
You know,
and it
like,
goes back to that old argument of if you go to a baseball game and you're watching the best batter or the best shortstop, they're working on fundamentals before the game starts.
every single time.
So basics rule.
Yeah, they do. And I was talking to my team the other day, the mundane tasks that we're doing, like brushing your teeth, combing your hair every now and again, getting dressed, like these doing the laundry, cleaning the dishes, like they make you successful. Like we don't consider ourselves successes sometimes because we're not making as much money as we want. We don't have the material things that we want. We're dissatisfied. We're not content, but we're all really pretty successful. I mean, look what we're accomplishing.
Right.
Like the connections that we're making. I mean, we got to start to embrace those fundamentals because it's the fundamentals, the ones I was watching The Last Dance, right? Like how much did Michael Jordan practice the fundamentals?
Yeah.
I mean, religiously.
And you don't get paid extra for practice. And I was talking about this on a call I had this morning. I've got a little group now where I talk to marketers and to people that just want to be sober and talk about sobriety. And I think fundamentals, man, accounting, right? Accounting for all your stuff during the day. So yeah, I mean, you call it the daily ledger or goal setting or whatever. I just call it tracking your accountability. And it got to a point, and we've talked about this on here, where I had to literally create a dashboard and daily activities and stuff that I can check off every single day on my phone because I won't get out a pen and paper and do it. But I have it written down. So I'm still writing it down. Everybody's got their own way of doing it.
Whether it's virtual or it's pen and paper.
But it is true. If you're not writing that stuff down and holding yourself accountable and setting tasks, sometimes it goes down and you get a little higher and it goes, but the balance you can see on the graph. I've been doing it every day and I'm getting better results, getting up earlier, doing this, doing that, doing the other thing. My wife gets up with me and works out. So it's contagious.
It is. And one thing I've been doing is I've started putting these big whiteboards around our office. So like if we're trying, whatever goal we're going after, we're writing it down. And I've been talking about this, right? To accomplish anything, you must write down something. But I haven't been practicing it every single day myself. I've been writing down my goals, but I haven't practiced it in those targets that you hit, right? Like, so we have a sales team. We've got 4 different sales teams now. My sales team, we have all of our prospects written up, and then I'm writing down exactly what our daily collection is and what our actual collected sales are. And until I started writing that down, we weren't really hitting our numbers. Well, this month in May, we've been hitting our numbers that we've laid out for ourselves. We've got a stretch goal of 300 grand. We're right there. But now I'm like, I need to apply that to my operations side of the business. How many tax returns is each preparer going to get done this week? What's the number we're shooting for? And we're going to put it up on this whiteboard behind me until we get a brand new one. But now we're going to start tracking that. And what's crazy is it starts to get into everybody else's head when they see that.
Right.
And they see it. Your wife started seeing you work out. She started seeing you do those things. Now she's attracted to that. Mm-hmm. And us as leaders in our businesses, we've got to set that example and we got to show. Like it feels like that you're showing off, but you're showing up. Like,
well, yeah. And I think that sometimes, the show off thing, it's like, well, I have to show myself that I'm holding it's talking it into existence sometimes because if it only exists in your head, well, then that's great. But how do I take that visualization and turn it into a reality? You hear Michael Jordan's a great example, or Conor McGregor, Evander Holyfield. You could probably name anybody that won titles or was successful or has got their own shoe brand, or Damon John, or Grant Cardone probably had that visual in his head of what GrowthCon could be and will be before he took the action. So, and then he had to hold himself accountable every day. So that can come off like all he does is talk about himself and all he does is talk about this and that and the other thing. But it's like, well, dude, that's what I'm focused on is growth. So
Yeah. And that's
you're
what,
either on for the ride or, I mean, you're sitting on the sideline, and that might sound mean, but it's the reality of the situation.
and I love seeing those pictures of Cardone, and I would love to see this from so many people on social media, showing the pictures of where they began, like seeing them with only a staff of 6 people, or seeing them with only themselves, or their first office, or wherever they were. You know, that picture of Bezos when he started Amazon, right? Like he was like in his
Right.
garage or like in his home office. Seeing that, I think, helps the rest of us to go, wow, they were in that place at one point in time too, and look where they are
Totally.
now. And
Totally.
he
I
had that.
just shared a video of me playing in the corner in Laguna Beach 2 years
Yeah.
ago, like the other day. And that was after I played at Grant's event in front of 10,000 people. And after I introduced Russell Brunson at some ClickFunnels event. And after I did tons of stuff that people would think, oh my gosh, you did that? Didn't you just blow up after that? And it's like, no, those were steps in the right direction. Those were steps from me just being an entertainer to being an entrepreneur. So where you
Right.
want to add more entertainment to your education, I'm adding entrepreneurship to my entertainment. So it's almost
Yes.
like both sides
That's
colliding here.
that's why we're coming together, man. I think that's why what we're doing together is working so well, because you help me not be as structured and accounting-ish, right? And help me bring that to other people in a creative way, which I
Right.
need creative. I'm crazy enough to try shit every now and again. Like I'm on TikTok doing stupid stuff. Like go follow that, by the way, at jdfrost.today on
Yeah.
TikTok. Like trying to be more active there. But like that's where you're helping me a bunch, is you're helping me to look at my business in a more entertainment type of way, which people like to have fun when they're working, right?
Well,
Like
they do. And that's part of the
have
reason
fun.
why guys like Grant have a draw, is because he's fun to watch.
Yeah.
He
And
just is.
he's more natural at it. And that's where you help me kind of like create these new videos, these videos that I wouldn't think, I'd be like, nobody wants to. You're like, yeah, let's do that. Let's do it. Like, and you kind of encourage that. And that helps to have that encouragement. It helps to have that creativity, that other way of thinking about it, because like, who wants to go listen to a lecture from an accountant? Like, nobody's going to go do that. Like,
Well,
how
yeah.
do you
So how do you
portray
position it?
differently? Like, I'm actually going to be entertained. This is going to be delivered to me in a way that I didn't even know that I was even learning. Right.
Right, right. And I think that the comedy aspect of anything, if you can make people laugh, I feel
Oh,
like
yeah.
you always win. And that's
Yeah.
one thing that even when times were hard, if I could force myself to be productive or produce something that's going to make me feel good, then it automatically, you know, ignites that spark and ignites that energy to like keep going, because someone else is going to enjoy that too. And then you start to kind of get that flow back in
Yeah.
your step, you know?
Yeah, I mean that's one thing that's been tough for me in sobriety, though. Even talking about that, like, because where my brain immediately goes is like, I used to be this partier. It was a lot of fun. Like we always had fun. We were always getting into something. There was always a
Right.
party to go to. There was always that thing. And so when you're sober, it's like hard to find that fun place again, because you're not like you don't let your guard down as much to have a good time, or to quote unquote have a good time or whatever. It's
Well,
not that
yeah.
I'm just like a pill, but
No.
it's not the same as when you're knocking back a bottle of Jack Daniels on the back porch, and your friend's like, "Hey, look at that kiddie pool over there. I'm gonna get you on this riding toy and run you into that."
And
And then
while
all of a
that's
sudden the cops come
hilarious,
up behind you and they're like,
right.
they're gonna tase you because you're making too much noise in the neighborhood. Like that was fun. Like, and that was clients that I was working with. Like we were having a good time.
And I think that sometimes we train ourselves to think that that is fun because we're not trying to have fun in a different way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like what we did earlier, I was just acting like some guy that doesn't know anything about loans, which is, pretty much the truth. And so when people see the videos, they'll understand. But I'm asking ridiculous questions like, do I really need to pay my taxes?
But the
And then
real
you're giving
question,
these nice, valuable answers, but it's put out in a way that is almost like driving the trailer into the pool.
yeah, yeah,
It's
no
just
doubt.
a creative video version.
And we're having fun doing it, and then hopefully you're getting some knowledge. I mean, that's the direction that I want our social media to go, because most people think of accountants are like dull, boring, not creative. I'm going to get the same old thing. I mean, that's just not true. Not with us.
And I
Not with
definitely
Raw.
think that even in the entrepreneur space as a whole, we're starting to see a staleness to the content, because how many times can we have people tell us to get motivated, or how
All the
many
same.
times can we tell people you got to have a fire inside you? How many
Yes.
times can we say you don't just need motivation, you need discipline and habits and actionable tasks and stuff like that? And it's like, dude, some people, you can tell them that over and over and over and over and over again, and they're not going to do it because the presentation is stale.
Yes. Yeah, totally agree. And they're not actually seeing you do it.
Right.
I don't see, and I think that one thing I'm working on is the transparency aspect of like, man, like I was running this morning and I walked to begin with. And on my story, like I did not feel like getting out of bed.
I
Like,
saw you eventually start running, and I was like, oh.
like, and I like did not, but I was inspired because I watched Credit Carl talking about it all the time. And he talks about how he tricks himself. And I'm like, I've never really actually applied it, but I've seen it over and over again. And I'm like, I'm just going to show people what this really looks like. Like it actually worked, you know? And I think the more we can see gurus, entrepreneurs, whatever you want to say, like actually applying it, not just seeing the results of it, but the struggle of like getting there.
Right.
That's more interesting to me. That's speaking a different language.
Well, I think you have to be willing to be bad at it first. So, like, if you look at my page, like, I posted about 10 videos that were similar styles, right, for a while as Mr. Entertainer
Yes.
here. And then I'm like, okay, well, I want to change it up. So I posted some Twitter quote, and I posted this and I posted that. Most of those posts have a little bit less views, quote unquote. But I feel like down the line, it becomes a little bit more unpredictable, because if it's always a funny style video, well, then you always know what's coming.
Yes.
But there's a lot of motivation that drives me to make those funny videos. And there's a lot of positive self-talk that takes me from maybe being at 9 a.m. tired after the workout and draggy to feeling funny an hour later, because you got a positive self-talk your way into those things. So I think that what you said there, what Credit Carl, I think I met him at your event, right?
Yeah.
Talking yourself into it, finding the strength, smashing your doubt is important to getting results in any area of life.
Yeah, having that, you feel like a crazy person, but you got to talk to yourself.
You do. And it's just the way it is. I was talking to a guy about, he wants to launch a podcast the other day, and I don't know if the guy's going to do it, because I felt like I could hear him kind of talking himself out of it. Oh, well, I don't know. I'm one of those people who's going to flip on the camera and be motivated to like be entertaining. I'm not really an entertainer, this and that and the other thing. And I'm like, okay, well, I mean, you could just do sound if you hate the video aspect of it. But it got down the line to where I don't know. If you talk yourself out of it, no matter what it is, you're never going to get the results.
Right. Yeah.
There's just no way. It doesn't work like that.
You got to commit to it.
You can't doubt yourself into winning.
Right. Yeah. No way.
There's got to be some kind of switch in your head that says, hey, I'm going to have to let go of this and just start doing it, even if you don't want to. I think that's where the discipline factor comes in. And that's where I think having accountability partners or people that you follow, the Coach Berts or the Grants or I like that Patrick David guy. He's got a little value-tainment kind of channel thing too. And it's like those guys have fun with it. They have fun with it. Yeah. So, when they don't want to do it, they find a way to make it fun
Yep.
and they get it done.
Exactly.
Michael Jordan had to find that Tim Grover guy. We met him at 10X. He had an accountability partner that held him accountable when he was filming Space Jam or whatever. I remember him telling that story on stage. They brought all the workout gear and all the stuff so that they could train while they filmed Space Jam with Michael Jordan on it. So they were doing
like
workouts. Yeah, they were doing all these workouts and stuff, and then he'd go in and film with the Toontown guys, and then go back and do his second workout, and then go film with Porky Pig and stuff like that. Like, they had to somehow make it fun. Because I guarantee if it was me, I'd be like, oh, man, we just filmed for this movie. I don't feel like working out.
Yes.
I just watched a movie. I feel like I'm the man. I don't need to work out. No.
Yeah, I mean, how many times did he actually feel like doing that? Zero. I don't think so. Like, he was just able to self-talk himself to that place of, this is what I got to do.
And I think, like you said, writing down what he needs to do and putting it in place so that it's almost unavoidable.
Right. Yeah. Like, they built that, like, it's like right there. How can you look at that and go, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
Like, if my Peloton was right outside my bedroom door, I would probably do the Peloton more rather than it being up in the playroom in the corner where I can't see it.
That's the same thing, like what you were saying. And I've taken that to heart, what you said about write stuff down. Like, I can see my whiteboards like right through the light. So I can show you on my phone, like I just took a picture. That's what I'm looking at right now through the light of us talking. And it's holding me accountable all day in my little production booth area.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
If I want to be an iconic messenger, I need to focus on my mindset, my skill set, and my strategy, not only to help me, but whoever's on my community group or whoever's my podcast client or whatever. What do I need to do for me to make sure I'm delivering at a high level first? I can't lead from the back.
Right. And I'd say anybody who is struggling with getting something done or struggling with an idea or struggling with a goal or anything like that, get a whiteboard, write up what it takes to achieve that goal.
I totally used to make fun of whiteboards.
Stare at it. Yeah, I bet you did.
Totally. Like, that is not my style at all. I'm all digital. I'm all like computer based, and that's okay. But I use that to jot the stuff down, and then I translate the most important stuff into a task sheet. So now when I pull up my Iconic Messengers app every day, if I want to be an iconic messenger in the world, I have got to do these things, and they are non-negotiables.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, man. Just keeping it real. I'm about to eat my arm off.
Do it. Go eat your food. I'm looking forward to people seeing what we were talking about. We're holding ourselves accountable with moving forward with the podcast clips and with all that. But these new edutainment videos are going to be fire. So you guys get ready to laugh your asses off.
You guys check these out. It's going to be really entertaining. And I had a blast making these things. So you got to check these out. Go to my page. Go to my profile on IG at jdfrost.today. And check out these videos.
Awesome, man. We'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks, Pat.
Later.